Good morning. Doing the video from the car today. I've seen this done on TikTok especially, and makes people look very busy and on the go. And I am parked, hence not wearing a seatbelt, or as wear a seatbelt. And just want to make a quick point today about correlations. Now, I did the talk on Saturday to some colleagues regarding non-binary clients and so on, with consent, a case study with consent. But the interesting thing that came out of it was a question at the end when somebody said, well, how do you know that the trauma that this person may have suffered in childhood wasn't the cause of their gender dysphoria? And I always find this a very interesting question, that people are trying to correlate trauma and gender dysphoria. Now, gender dysphoria to a certain extent is trauma, because when you're not happy in your gender, because you feel that, there's all sorts of stuff that's wrong, it's going to be a traumatic experience. Add to that the social impact of being, gender questioning or gender queering or and so on. So, and being non-binary in a sense, it's even harder, as my client found out, partly because although this status is protected by law, it's not actually recognized as such by legislation. So the question always, this sort of question is always trying to say, the reason people are queer is because of traumatic experiences in childhood. Thank you. And actually, I really, really want to take just a couple of minutes to dispel that myth. There's a body of research which fundamentally disagrees with this point that trauma causes gender dysphoria. Now, again, there is a link between trauma and gender dysphoria, but like we learned in most statistical classes, correlation does not mean causation. If something is statistically significantly correlated, which actually trauma and gender dysphoria are for a variety of reasons, it doesn't imply causation. It doesn't imply that one thing influences the other. It doesn't say the reason you have a traumatic experience is because you have gender dysphoria, or the reason you have gender dysphoria is because of a traumatic experience. They are correlated. A lot of people with gender dysphoria feel these things, suffer trauma, as I said, through society, through their experience in society, through the way they feel in their own bodies, families, and so on. But there is no link between the fact that somebody has a traumatic experience and their gender queering. So, this is this myth that's been promulgated, especially in mental health circles, to suggest that it's a disease. We still haven't quite got past the 70s, where in the DSM, being queer, being gay, being whatever was was categorized there as a mental health issue. It is not. I think there's so much research now that you can read. And by the way, when I say research, I mean peer-reviewed journals, proper scientific research, not going on Google or even YouTube and finding me saying, oh, no, it's not. There is material out there that will categorically prove this. So I think if we do nothing today, it's just let's dispel this myth, especially with mental health professionals and everyone out there, that yes, there is a link between traumatic experiences, trauma and gender dysphoria, and people who are questioning their gender, but there is no causation. One doesn't lead to the other, right? So trying to diminish somebody's experience by trying to claim it's mental health issue is just reductive, and it's actually a bit, homophobic and transphobic, to be honest with you. Have a good rest of the day.